This is going to be an attempt to give you the overview of 9 essential tools for Illustrator. Let's go. So this is what you get when you open Illustrator. Ignore the junk on the cloud. This is where your cloud files would be, your files, files that are shared with me, deleted files. Oh, I don't have any. I thought I would. Anyway, so this is kind of if you're using the cloud. But we go new file. And by default, we just want to do letter for this. You can change it if you know the pixels you want, the different, who uses feet, I don't know. But I guess so, maybe you can do whatever measurements you want. Okay, there you go. So we'll call this tools demo, hit OK. Or before I hit OK, let's take a look at some of the other options. We'll get into these later. By default, it's going to be CMYK color or RGB color. CMYK is for print. RGB is for computers, basically, right? Different dots per inch, pixels per inch is the way it's called PPI. I'm old, so I say DPI, dots per inch. I think it's the same thing. Not sure. I'm sure there's a fancier way of saying it. Anyways, we get all this together. We hit create, and we will get a new document. Okay, so this is Illustrator. This is our toolbar, right, of all the basic tools. These are our submenus. You can click on these to different things. The icons do give you a clue as to what they are, right? Here, I'll start. Here we go. So we have swatches, color. Then we have color guides, which hopefully we're going to get into later. Swatches. Okay, these are everyone's favorites. They're the easiest, right? Grayscale. You have all your primary stuff. By default, it comes out. It starts pretty unimpressively. So I think Illustrator is good for building your own color palettes, or you need to in Illustrator, but we'll get to that later. Different strokes. We don't really have to worry about this right now, except for the basic stroke. Shapes, symbols, never really use those. And there are also sublayers here, and you can see how the thing changes. Stroke width, we'll get into that later. Gradient tool, get into that later. Transparency, appearance. This is where layers are. See, layers are the next tab. And graphic styles, never really use that. Well, maybe we'll come back to it at another time. Over here on the right, we have our main selection tool. If you hover over it, this gives you this little learning mode, right? The most important thing to know is it's this little V, and that is a hotkey for it. This is the direct selection tool, A. Magic wand, you can get all the titles. We can go through these. So let's start out with shapes. Okay, we're going to do here. Here's our rectangle tool. Whenever you see these little dots next to the picture, like on text, the pen, the direct select tool, whenever you see those little dots in the bottom right corner, it'll open up more information, right? So here are the different defaults. Hotkey is M for rectangle, L for ellipse. So we're going to do an ellipse right now, and we can draw the ellipse. Did you notice what happened when I did that? I'm holding down shift. I'll show you what later. Now I'm not holding down shift. Shift will snap it. But what I wanted to mention was undo. If I draw the circle, you see how it's actually coming from the corner point. It's actually starting here, and I'm making it. If you want to do it a different way, let's see, it's the Option key. Yes. Option key will make the shape from the center. I'm hitting shift. See, when you don't hit shift, it becomes like taffy. And never fear, you just hit shift. It snaps it into place. Oops. And if you don't do that right, it'll do that. So let's do option again. Let's one more time. I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to keep it held down. And now I got this. So now we have a shape. Here we have, up here is the colors for those shapes, right? And what you need to pay attention to is there's 2 color things. There's the stroke, which I'm increasing right now manually. You can also, make it real thick. change the color of the inside. So you have two types of color in Illustrator. You have the stroke. I just moved that line through it. Now it's nothing. If I choose a color, comes red, right? So we have that. Now if I hit M, let's see if that does. Yes, it does. Awesome. So I'm going to do this, right? Maybe just so we can see the different color, we'll give it another color value. Boom. Okay. Let's do another one here. Make this out. Oops, cancel. I'm going to hit the V tool. That'll take me to my direct selection. You can see over here. I'm going to increase that and have this over the edge. I want to show you something when we do the export for this. So I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm just making a shape. So anyways, we have this. We have several different shapes. So once you have that, you can adjust the stacking order. There's two ways to layer objects and organize your objects in Illustrator. Quick aside is, think about it, all the artwork you're making in Illustrator, they're not drawings, you're building things. And once we get into like the Pathfinder and stuff like that, it makes a lot more sense. But here, we'll start from here. And so there's two ways to do it. So first way, default, I click the circle, and I want to bring the circle in front. I don't like the way this looks. I want those things to be background elements. So object, second one down, arrange, send to back. You can do it one step. I find that kind of irritating and ineffective, so I usually go, oops, send to back. Okay, my bad. Bring to front. There we go. Now we can see that it's in front of the object. Maybe we don't like that. Maybe we want to bring this to the front. Another way to do it, right click on it. Arrange is down here, right under transform. It's usually nestled right near each other. We're going to bring this to the front. And maybe we're going to just do that, right? For no particular reason, right? I don't know what we're doing here. I have no idea what's going on. So anyways, so we have this. And here we can do the stacking order. We can do arrange, oops, and see how it's not here? It's different. I must have clicked something else. Click the object and hit arrange, right? Okay, so we have that. Then we have the layers. And layers work is the other way of doing it. See, everything is on this one layer. If I hit layer here, and it's like Photoshop almost, just click this, see, create new layer. Create new sublayer. There's all sorts of things here. Throw it away. These are the two you're going to use most to make a new layer. Throw away the layer. Sometimes you might need these. We'll come to that when we need it. Anyways, so say I want this guy. Say I want this guy, the circle. I'm going to cut him out. And I want him to be behind both of these. And I'm going to do paste now. I cut it with Command X. I'm going to go edit, paste. Now I can paste. You can paste in front. You can paste in back. You can paste in place. Paste in place is what you use most often, I think, because it will paste it right where it's supposed to go. And now with the layers, we can move things around that way. Okay? So, yeah, so that's that. And just a quick note about here, I'll show you something too. It's not by default. So there's no rulers here. So we can go to Windows, and here's all the different things, the color, all these things are in the sidebar are here usually. A few other ones that are a little more obscure. Maybe Pathfinder we'll get to later. What was I looking for right now? I was just looking for something. Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was looking for. Window. I wanted a window. I know I wanted a window. And what are they going to be attributes? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I forget what it was. It'll come back to me. So we go window. Here's a note too. that I forgot. Here's another side thing. Whenever you're here, you have tool properties. So when I'm in the selection tool, here's another way you can access your colors, and your strokes can be all done through here. Here there's an align feature. We'll get into that later. Oh, I know what I was looking for. I knew I would remember. Okay, rulers, right? We don't have any units of measurement here. So where is the ruler? It should be right here. Oh man. View, rulers. I know what I'm doing. All right. So from the rulers, with the rulers tab open, you could probably do it without it too. I'll show you in both ways. So let's see. So here you have the guides. This is what you can use the rulers for. Illustrator and Adobe products in general, you'll see the same behavior in Photoshop. It wants to help you by giving you these visual markers too, to snap it. See, like that. That's telling me, it's trying to tell me I'm right in the center. Bam. Okay. So also though, we're going to use the align tool later. But anyways, so that's that. Now we have the next tool is the type tool. Type is super simple. You just click an area you want to type in and you say, this is text, exclamation point. Now, so it just is this tiny little thing. You go back over here to the properties, right? Here is the font type. Let's change the font type to whatever I have on there. You can change the font size. By default, it'll go up to 72. Oh, you know, it didn't do anything. I wonder why. Because this type is not selected. There's two ways to select type. The old school way is you would actually have to select everything, this type, and then you could make adjustments, right? Illustrator is a little more text friendly, I think, and you can do this. You can just select it and you have the same access to the same options, right? Everything is here, right? And now I can try to see how that centers it, and then I'll show you how to align it. Actually, let's not keep that centered. And then we can go beyond 72. You can also type it in. That's what I end up doing a lot because you can see it real quickly. Get the V a little too big, right? We're gonna knock that down. So the text tool is like really simple. It does have a couple options though that you should be aware of. You can type on a path and that will be, see, I can select this path and you see how a little pink path, I can say type, wow, and then it gets crazy. And I say this is text in a circle, exclamation point, right? And now I'm back on here. This is a circle. I got it. So here with the direct select tool, you select this guy right here. That's what you do. Whew. Okay, so that's how you do that. But now I lost the circle. So how would I do that? How would I get that back? Let's see if I can get that back now. Maybe it'll let me. Oh no, it won't, huh? I'm locked out of it. Oh, got it. And then let's put that back to red now. Okay, so that's what we do. Okay, those are the main functions of the text tool. This little text to path is pretty good. It's a real fun feature. Okay, so now let's get to the most annoying tool in Illustrator, but also the best one, the pen tool. Okay, so how you use the pen tool? Select the pen tool. Click under here. You have sub things you can do. Add anchor point, delete anchor point, and the most important one of all, anchor point tool. Okay, but let's just stick to pen tool. We're gonna make a square. Oh, I hid both the layers. See how the thing is off? Let's go this, And so what I'm going to do, now I got a pen. Now let's go here, and I'm going to hold down shift to make that snap to there. I'm going to go here. I'm going to, oh, that's in the center. Bam. Now, but this is not a closed shape. All right, this is important. This is not a closed shape. It wants you to close the shape. Right? And so I'm going to make a nice, clean, easy triangle here. And yeah, that's it. So now what we do is this is the pen tool. That's it. You're done. Anyways, no. So look, if I have the pen tool and I pluck it along this line right here, you can see it gives me, it has a plus, and now that I put it over the point, a minus. Now let's try, yes, very good. So a direct select tool, you can select it and you can move it, right? You can select it and you can move it. You can select it and you can move it. Now, this doesn't work. So what we want is that anchored tool right here. We want this bad boy. And you can do, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to hit the pen tool. See, it goes back to P. And you can get it directly by selecting it, obviously, right here. Or Shift C. Yes. This is the only thing Photoshop doesn't have. It has it, but I can't get the hotkey to work on it. Make that a little big right there. Now he has a big old fat beard. Right? Something like that. Okay. Something like that. See how it's a little bit, we can zoom in with pluses here. Go back to the pen tool. Maybe go back to direct select tool to deselect it. You can get into the weeds with this stuff. You really should for final stuff, but it doesn't matter for this. This tool, though, the anchor tool, this little guy, it to me makes this program make sense. So anyway, so you can see how when you bring it out, you can also twist it in. You can do all sorts of weird, wonky stuff with it, right? So don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to mess with it. Adobe has unlimited undos. You can also hit Shift. And now, again, I'm back at it. Shift C was what I did. And see what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of rounding out that side. And then what I'm going to do here, though, is you can detach the handles from each other. And I can bring that point back. But so I have two different shapes going on. It's a little more dynamic, right? Same thing here. I'm going to squeeze it out. I'm going to grab this guy, holding down I think it's Alt key on a PC, Option key on a Mac. You can get separate control of these handles here. And it's very useful. So, pen tool, very cool. There's probably a better example, but I'm just kind of messing around here. Do that. I don't want to see it. I don't want it to delete it. A little pumpkinish action. Shift C to get this back. Shift C. Right? And just having a little simple, stupid shapes here. Oops. Direct select tool now. Push that there. Push that there. Pull that there. Pull that there. So there, I have no idea what this is. And that's not important. But it should fit, right? Let's go back to direct select tool or the selection tool. Let's make this like white, create like a negative effect. I don't know. I have no idea. No, that looks terrible. But it really doesn't matter, right? So, anyways, okay. Okay, that's that. That's the pen tool overview. Now, let's get into the gradient tool. The gradient has its own. In Photoshop, it's built into the paint bucket, but because we don't have a paint bucket, everything has a color that we just either choose to have the color or don't have a color. We have the gradient tool in Illustrator. And it should be as simple as, let's apply it to this beard here. Oh, let's get here. Hit the gradient tool. Oh, find the gradient tool. Here it is. So it's just set to a black and white. There we go. And so here, with these sliders here, they're similar to these guys right here. See how this affects that, and this affects that. And here you can kind of flip it around. This is a neat tool when you get access to it. Uh-oh, what did I just do? Go right here. Oops. And here you can change the color. Interesting. Of the gradient. I can change the color to that dark red. Okay, this is getting out of control. Hold on a second. And then we go back to edit gradient. There we go. Something like that. Why is this guy giving me trouble here? Yeah, that's fine. So you can edit the gradient. Now it becomes mud in color. Okay, so you can edit the gradient like that. You can give the gradient different points. Right here, you can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. The thing to remember about gradients is almost don't use them. Right? They're not. Obviously you can, but they have a look to them, and just less is more with gradients. That's the main thing I want to get at. But they are useful, and they make things look really cool. They have uses, so knowing how to use the tool is important. This is the basics of it. It's right over here. It's right over here. Let's try it again. Here, let's start over here. I'm gonna go direct select. I'm just gonna undo out of that. Undo out of that. Nice. Okay, so go back to gradient tool, and boom, it applies it automatically. Here you can kind of adjust where the start and end of it, where here you should be able to move it around. There's a rotate up here too. There it is. See, you can flip it around. Hit shift, it'll always snap to where you want it to be. And you can, if I want it to be bigger, you got to go extend it from here though, right? And there you go. So the next thing that you're dealing with is you got shapes. We have gradients for the shapes. Now what we did here though, and what we've been playing with this whole time, is strokes, right? And the most basic example is the stroke of these sunglasses, and how they are a white stroke now. And we can adjust that stroke so we can see it, right? But there's also a stroke palette right here, which can be useful, but by default it looks like this, which is not useful. So what you want to do is you want to go to these three bars right here. You want to show options, and here we have all the options for it, and now it's set up, right? And so you can change the way the corners work. We're probably not going to see too much here in this example because of the pointed nature. If you're dealing with stars, for instance, it's not going to do anything, but there we go. I hit that, I hit the chisel, and you can kind of see it working, right? Let's get in there. Yeah. I can actually use that chisel to form along. If I was actually trying to make this work. Something like that, right? Now the chisel's actually helping me. But you can see it goes, you can do round too. and it's kind of doing it. By default, it's going to be the pointy. So it's important to know this. And now stroke alignment. So you can see this in this wide stroke, that this middle part right here, this orange going down the center line, that's the stroke. So you can arrange where the stroke is. By default, it's set to the center. You can set it to the outside. You can set it to the inside. They all have different effects. Default is center, right? And yeah, you can change shapes. I'm not going to mess with that. Mess with it right now. Okay, that's weird. Okay, you can set shapes of the strokes themselves. There's a lot of different things you can do. Okay, things I've never looked at before. Probably never needed. Anyways, so yeah, so that's the strokes. Now, you've seen me kind of do it several times. This is the easiest in Photoshop. It's called the free transform tool or whatever. But the scale tool, that's the free transform tool. The scale tool resizes stuff. Right? Where is it? So, whoa. Yeah. Okay. The scale tool is crazy. So, this is the taffy. Now I'm going to hit shift. Interesting effect. But yeah, so the scale tool is a global version of the transform tool. They almost are functionally the same to the layperson. They're not going to tell much of a difference. But the scale tool, I think you have more control over precision, right? So you can go using the scale tool. You should be able to go into the properties somewhere here. I'm not sure. Anyways, I've never really used the scale tool directly. Sometimes you might need precise controls, and that's where the scale tool comes in. There's also some other stuff here that you get into with digital sculpting and stuff like that. So that's kind of the gist of it. Now, let's get rid of this. Oops, not all of it. Yeah, all of it. Anyway, so let's get into the last thing I want to show you is the Pathfinder tool. The Pathfinder tool. This. Oh, it's set to the gradient. Have fun. Fill. See, the gradient's right here. I can change it to a solid. Change it back to a solid color. Oops. And I want to have a couple shapes. Right? I'm going to go to the selection tool. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Right? And then I'm going to go here, here. So you can group all these things together to move them around, right? Maybe it's that's what it is. It's a castle turret, right? Right? Something like that. Yeah, so it's a castle turret. So, oops. So, one way to move them around, the easiest default way for most people is just grabbing it and just making a group. Control G. I can ungroup it. You can break them back apart. Regroup. Redo group, right? You can do it here, but it's also, say you select them, and I think it's object group. Yep, there you go. So, but this is kind of out of whack. So let's play with the alignment tool. So I'm gonna go with, let's do this first. I'm gonna take this and this because they look kind of, they're having trouble there. There we go. I think I can get this, and I think I can get this, and then what I do. They hit this, and I set the alignment horizontally. Boom, there we go. Oh, there's a different size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oops. Option, move over. There we go. Now, These are basically the same thing, you know, but let's do the alignment for horizontal as well. Boom. Now they're in alignment. Let's do a couple of those. Now let's do this with this, because that looks off, right? Oops, I should do the entire thing. Ooh, let's do, I got it. Nope, we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do this and this, and then we'll align that. Boom, now those guys are together. Now it looks like the shift was in my favor, so I don't have to do extra work. But now I have all these different shapes, and oh, it's a little off. Now let's try something here. If I go here and here, and I align on this side, oops, nope, that doesn't do it. Here and here. Yes. Here and here. Yes. Oh, it's because I'm doing it out of order. It's going to be out. It's part of the aesthetic. Okay. So who cares? So I got a bunch of different shapes here. Now, let's go ahead and use that Pathfinder. And I don't know which symbol to look for directly, so I'm just going to go to Windows and Pathfinder. There it is. Oh, see, it wasn't here. It's somewhere within the Transform tool. So have the Pathfinder out. You can actually have your line thing out. But basically, Pathfinder works in joining two shapes together or separating them out. In this case, I just select those two. Then I select this. Oops, I did the wrong thing. That one and that one. And I combine those shapes. And now this thing is a free, you know, just select it all together. Now this thing is one solid object. I do this and this. Boom. Right? It's that simple. You can also, I'm going to use the M tool to make some circles here, or some shapes here. Actually, let's do this. Option key. Actually, make that a different color so I can see it. Option key. Wait, why is that there? B. There you go. And I think we should be able to do this, and we can cut that out. See? We can probably do this and this and cut that out. See? Now, all of this is one shape, and that has just, it's just, this is what you want. And this is how you can create custom shapes, because now we have shapes, and that shape can be, now I can control the mass of the object without any issues. Like, it doesn't have to be like symmetrical and boring. You can use this power now to make something kind of a little more dynamic. Right? You can use the pen tool, right, to soften it up. Obviously, I'm just making it all angular, right? But I think you get the idea. Something like that, right? Anyways, you select two tools at once and move them all the way down. Then I can go direct select, and I can see this is the only issue now is this is the shape height. So I had to commit to that. I would like to move this square down, but I could find a workaround for that. I want to see something actually. Click, 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 click all those, and then bring them down. Ha ha ha. Yeah, see, there's a lot of flexibility in this tool. Shift C to get back to my anchor that I love, right? Give them a couple little things, but I want to keep that part. Oops. Even a little bit concave. Something like that, right? Anyways, so Pathfinder, awesome tool. You can use it What the heck? Anyways, you can use it to make things awesome. Oops. Select tool, pink, and now combine, right? Pathfinder tools, awesome. So anyways, that concludes like all the main tools, probably a rambling mess of about 9 different tools. Hope this helps.